What if the voice you hear isn't the one speaking? In today's video, we investigate a mystery buried under classified audio, sealed rooms, and vanishing planes, where Xi Jinping's voice may have been cloned, used, and ultimately turned against him. From forbidden AI labs to lost broadcasts, this is not just a question of identity. The takeoff that wasn't logged. It was a quiet night over Beijing. Too quiet. At exactly 2:37 a.m., radar control at the Central Air Defense Command registered a helicopter lifting off from a restricted military zone inside Zhongnanhai, the heart of China's political power. There were no flight plans, no emergency authorizations, no pilots registered. And yet, the chopper took off. What made this event even more unnerving was its make and origin. It was a Z-10 attack helicopter. But not just any model. This one had a unique tail serial, cleared only for Ghost Protocol operations. Operations that, officially, didn't exist. The aircraft rose silently, moving eastward, skimming low over rooftops, as if following a memorized path. Military scanners failed to lock on. And the CCTV feeds from the compound mysteriously went black for exactly 4 minutes. That was the first red flag. The second, at 3:11 a.m., a junior radar technician tried to report the anomaly. Within 7 minutes, his entire user log was erased. His badge was deactivated. By sunrise, he no longer worked there. That's when the whispers began. Some said the helicopter was carrying a black box from a sealed vault in the archives room, something Xi Jinping had reportedly reviewed just 48 hours before. Others said it was never a helicopter at all, but a test, a simulation, or worse, a signal. That morning, Xi Jinping postponed a key Politburo briefing for the first time in 2 years. No explanation was given, but those closest to him noticed something was different. He didn't make eye contact. He didn't speak off-script. He kept glancing at the sky. The pilot who wasn't on the roster. They didn't find the pilot's name in any registry. Not in military files. Not in civil aviation logs. Not even in the Zhongnanhai personnel database. But someone flew that aircraft. Internal investigation teams, known as shadow integrity units, were activated under emergency clearance. Their goal, track the movements of the Z-10 from 2:37 to 3:19, when the chopper reportedly returned and vanished off radar. The unit's first discovery? The cockpit's voice recognition log had been tampered with. Not erased, tampered. The voice had been overwritten by a near-perfect mimic of Xi Jinping himself. Not in words, but in tone, cadence, and command patterns. The AI detection systems flagged it as a 99.2% match, which made no sense. Xi was in a secured diplomatic suite at the time. Publicly, he'd been on a live call with the Brazilian president. And yet, the voice from the cockpit kept repeating a short command. Archive 311. Proceed. Seal the vault. The Archive 311 designation wasn't familiar. But one retired intelligence liaison recognized it as an old Cold War label, used only for documents that posed psychological risk to party officials. When investigators accessed the vault's movement logs, they hit another wall. All entries after 1 a.m. had been wiped. Yet, physical evidence said otherwise. Boot prints, fresh. Door magnets, recalibrated. Vault air pressure logs, fluctuated. Someone had been there. Someone trusted enough to bypass biometric locks, impersonate the president's voice, and fly a top-tier military aircraft through Beijing airspace. But there was something else. Inside the cockpit, security found a discarded glove. Too small for a typical pilot, but embedded with nanotag tracking, something only issued to red-tier advisors. That narrowed it down to just 7 people. One of them had vanished 2 years ago, declared dead, now possibly flying under Xi's voice. The signature Xi never gave. At 3:41 a.m., a transmission echoed across a closed diplomatic relay line between Zhongnanhai and the Western Theater Command. It was short, only 5 seconds. But it was signed. Not digitally, not verbally, by hand. The document was a single sheet, physically scanned into the system, bearing Xi Jinping's official presidential seal, and what looked like his handwriting, authorizing the reactivation of something called Protocol Slate Iris. Here's the problem. She had never seen that document. And Slate Iris wasn't in any operational index. Presidential signature logs are recorded using micro-pressure sensors embedded in the pens given to state leaders. Each stroke has a weight profile, angle, pressure, lift. The Slate Iris signature matched Xi's down to the pressure curve, except for one spike. It came at the final stroke of the last character. The hesitation. Handwriting analysts said it was the kind of pause you see in someone who's either forging under pressure or hesitating over a word they don't actually believe in. So, who signed it? Security logs showed that only one access card was used in the presidential study between 2 o'clock and 4 a.m. That card belonged to Guilin, a former protocol officer reassigned to agricultural archives 17 months prior. Except Guilin had died in a boating accident 6 months ago. Or so the official report said. And then came the twist. Buried within the metadata of the scanned signature was a tiny QR fragment. When isolated and rebuilt, it led to a hidden node inside the Zongnanhai intranet, referencing a file path. /echo/iris/backdoor/auth3. Inside it, a 3-second clip. Just 3 words. Spoken in Xi's voice. Begin the echo. Was it a code? A trigger? A taunt? No one knew. But the voice was too perfect. Analysts feared this wasn't just about impersonation. It was about controlling reality itself. By the time she was briefed, he only had one question. How long has my voice been in the system? No one had an answer. The flight plan with no return. 2 days later, at 1:12 a.m., a flight plan was filed from a military satellite terminal near Xiangshan, far outside the usual jurisdiction of the Air Force Central Command. The aircraft, an unmarked stealth-capable Y-20. The route, classified. The passenger manifest, empty. But the tail number matched something unexpected. A file buried in the Slate Iris folder. This flight plan wasn't about transporting cargo or officials. It was labeled simply, Exit Node Alpha 1. The Y-20 was equipped with an AI-powered acoustic resonance scanner. Normally used for terrain mapping, this particular unit had been reprogrammed for something far more specific, voiceprint triangulation. The aircraft's purpose was to locate every instance of Xi's voice, real or replicated, broadcast across any satellite band in the last 18 months. It was a voice hunt. The plane never returned. Satellite logs show it disappeared from radar somewhere over the Taklamakan Desert just after 4 a.m. The last ping, an audio burst captured by a weather satellite, scrambled but containing one phrase. The mirror speaks before the man. That same day, 5 archivists at the Central Audio Authority were detained for interrogation. One was found with a listening device hidden inside an antique party-issued radio. The signal, Xi's voice, looped, filtered, distorted, saying something no one could explain. The original is no longer original. Theories exploded. Had someone cloned not just Xi's voice, but his decision-making patterns? Was someone training an AI using his recorded speeches, debates, even offhand comments, to simulate the man himself? In other words, was she still the only one making Xi's decisions? An internal report from the Cyber Defense Command offered a terrifying possibility. The voice has outlived the speaker. What if the real threat wasn't someone pretending to be Xi, but a system that no longer needed him at all? The chamber where every sound was erased. In the heart of Zongnanhai, past a corridor no one walked without invitation, sat a room built not for meetings, but for erasure. They called it the chamber. No windows. No recording devices. Lined with rare basalt foam, it was acoustically dead. Any sound made inside the chamber never bounced back. It just vanished. This was where Xi Jinping went when silence wasn't enough. According to internal logs, he entered the chamber 3 times during the Red Voice crisis. Each time, he stayed less than 10 minutes. No transcripts, no recordings, not even guard reports. The only thing that changed was what happened after. After the first visit, 17 voice recognition projects were decommissioned. After the second, over 40 broadcast archives were sealed permanently. After the third, a vault was constructed beneath the National Museum. Its label? The Living Silence Initiative. Rumors began to spread among intelligence officers. She hadn't just silenced the voice. He'd buried it. Some even claimed he was no longer using his own voice at all in public appearances, but a perfected mimic, crafted to avoid further replication attacks. There were slip-ups. A televised address with odd pauses. A foreign summit with double translation delays. A glitch in cadence during a military parade speech. The chamber became a symbol. Not of protection, but replacement. By the time it was sealed for good, only one directive had been etched onto its doorframe in Old Mandarin calligraphy. The speaker must remember he is not the echo. And so the question remained, not just inside China but for the world. If a voice can be copied, distorted, framed, and replaced, how long before the person behind it disappears altogether? If that story made you question what's real and what's hidden, you're not alone. There are more secrets buried behind official silence, more echoes waiting to be heard. If you want to explore them with us, hit that subscribe button. Because here at Hidden Xi, the truth is never what it seems.